and the only reflection I'll share is kafa bil mawti maw'idha. We know this in our tradition, that death is enough of a reminder. The Prophet ﷺ said, remember hadimul ladhat, remember always the destroyer of pleasures. At some point, each and every single one of us will be staring it right in the eyes. We all live with this terminal illness called life. You don't know when your life is going to end, but it's not meant to be forever. If there was anyone that would be granted al-khuld on this earth, eternity on this earth, it would have been the Prophet ﷺ. No one, not even Jibreel alayhi salam, does not face death except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every hayy, everything He created will die. The question becomes, when you face Malak al-Maut, when you face the angel of death. And one of the brothers was telling him, InshAllah, you'll be okay. And he said, don't feel sorry for me, because he said, you might die in a car accident next week. I might live for 2 years, 3 years, and you die in a car accident. Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. If you're facing the angel of death right now, what are your regrets? And was it worth it? What you are doing, the way you live your life, ma qaddamt wa ma akhart, what you put forth and what you held back, what you failed to do, was it worth it? Was your life worth it? What's your resume before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Not all of us, will many people, when they go to their graves, the Prophet ﷺ told us that the angel will, that people will stand over the gravesite and they will say such great things about that person. But the angels poke at that person and say, ahakadha kunt? Are you like they say that you, are you like what they say about you? SubhanAllah, just think about that, because at the end of the day, you know what you're bringing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what you're presenting to Allah. You know the true state of your heart and the true state of your mind and the true state of your actions. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? If each one of us lived our lives knowing that we have a month left, or knowing that it could, really taking that into consideration. In fact, going to sleep at night, they say you need to be able to, when you sleep at night, do you sleep at peace? Do you sleep at ease? You are literally every single night, your soul is being handed back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it might not come back. How many people go to sleep and just don't wake up? Every single day is a presentation, is a mini death. It is maut. Every single night. Tonight you die, I die. Whether we wake up in the morning, Allah knows best. But was it worth it? How are you sleeping? Are you at peace with what you've put forth and what you've held back? Because this whole experience is an experience between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At that point, that's all that matters. This entire experience of life is an experiment between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want to just contrast for a moment those last moments. And you have no, I really love this brother. I love Muhammad, and I am praying that he makes it out of this. I don't even want to think about the thought that he might not make it out of this. I don't want to think about that, to be honest with you. It's almost like a state of denial. But subhanAllah, the last moments, contrast two people. Fir'aun and his wife Asiya. Okay? Fir'aun, who spent a whole life in tughyan, spent a whole life in oppression and wrongdoing. And then he's drowning, and Jibreel alayhi salam is kicking the dirt in his face. Was it worth it, O Fir'aun? All the istikbar and ulu, all the pride and the arrogance and the dhulm, was it worth it? All the sinfulness, all the disobedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all the torture, was it worth it? At that moment when Jibreel is kicking the dirt in his face, and what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? That the wicked, when they're dying, the angels يَضْرِبُونَ وُجُوهَهُم. The angels are hitting them in the face and cursing them as they're leaving this world. Was it worth it? And he's so pathetic that in those last moments, he said, I believe in the Lord of Bani Israel, when his lungs are filled with water, when it does him no good whatsoever. So pathetic. You spent your whole life oppressing Bani Israel and trying to deny them of Iman, and now you're seeing death in your face. Jibreel is kicking you in the face. You're drowning all the people you tortured, and you have the nerve and the audacity at that moment, not in tawbah, not in repentance, but just in his pathetic state of being, that okay, I believe in the Lord of Bani Israel, when he's literally dying. Contrast that to Asiya, alayhi salam, when she is being tortured, spread out, mocked, and the soldiers of Fir'aun are beating her mercilessly, whipping her, and they go up to push this huge stone to splatter her body into pieces. And I hate to be so graphic, but it is what it is. And she's looking up, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows her what? Her palace in Jannah. فَضَحِكَتْ. And she laughed. To a point that she's not even feeling the whipping anymore, not even feeling the torture anymore. She laughed as she looked up. And Fir'aun says, look at this crazy woman. Mocks her, look at this crazy woman. She's lost her mind. And before the stone shatters her, what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do? Najjaha min al-zalimeen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took her soul from the body before the stone, so people see it. But was it worth it for Asiya? Was it worth it? I mean, what she went through, was it worth it? Of course it was. Contrast the two, Fir'aun and her. Contrast the Fir'aun of this ummah, Abu Jahl. Abu Jahl, who tortured the Muslims, who tried to assassinate the Prophet ﷺ, who boycotted the Prophet ﷺ, who killed the first Muslims, made the first Muslim martyrs by killing them, and killed them in a very cruel way. Abu Jahl, when he's dying, he's in the battlefield of Badr, and he's been struck by two young men, and he's laying on the battlefield, this arrogant, proud man, and the one who steps on his chest for the last time is Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, who represents everything that he belittled in life, everything he oppressed in life, all of that. And Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiallahu anhu is the last thing he saw in this dunya. Abdullah bin Mas'ud on top of him, a poor, oppressed, weak man. But was it worth it for Abu Jahl at that moment? All that arrogance, all that trying to show that he was better than Banu Hashim, all that knowledge and wisdom that he had that went to waste, and power he went to waste because he exerted it against the Prophet ﷺ and doing oppression and doing all these things. Was it worth it? Imagine how pathetic and humiliating that is. He's laying on the battlefield, and the last person he sees is Abdullah bin Mas'ud, who he almost killed for saying La ilaha illallah. Contrast that to Sumayya radiallahu ta'ala anha wa ardaha, the first Shahida, the first martyr in Islam. Abu Jahl on top of her and striking her and then killing her in the worst way possible. I don't even want to describe the way he killed her. But was it worth it for Sumayya radiallahu anha, leaving this world with dignity, saying La ilaha illallah, refusing to curse the Prophet ﷺ, refusing to say anything about the idols that were being shoved in her face, refusing it all. The dignity of Sumayya radiallahu ta'ala anha. You contrast these, and then you ask yourself, it is very likely that our death, and Allah knows best, will not be as extreme as these two. Allah knows best how we die. At the end of the day, it's death, it's the end. But at some point, you are staring the angel of death in the face. At that point, it all flashes before your eyes. Was it worth it? Was it worth it? Kafa bil mawti maw'idha. Death solves everything. If it's not worth dying for, it's not worth living for. And if you live your life like a person who expects death, then expect your death to be beautiful. Expect your death to be beautiful. If you live your life like a person who expects death, expect husn al-khitam, expect a good ending. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us husn al-khitam. May Allah Azza wa Jal allow the best of our deeds to be the last of them, and the most beautiful moments of our life to be the end of it. Allahumma ameen. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.